Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya More Daya More Toma Dina Keyo Jagat Sham Jagat Sham Potita Pavana Tu Potita Pavana Mosham Potita Nitananda Premananda Shukhi Premananda Shukhi Kripalokana Ami Boya Daya Kara Shitapati Advaita Goshai Daya Kara Tapa Kripa Bole Pai Chaitanya Nitai Chaitanya Nitai Aha Sharup Shanatana Rupa Raghunatha Rupa Raghunatha Ha Sharup Shanatana Rupa Raghunatha Ha Sharup Bhatta Juga Shiti Baha Prabhu Lokanatha Prabhu Lokanatha Doya Koro Si Acharya Prabhu Srinivas Prabhu Srinivas Ramachandra Shangamage Narottama Das Ramachandra Shanga Narottama Das Ramachandra Shanga Mage Narottama Das Ramachandra Narottama Das Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaud Bhakta Vrinda Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Gaud Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama. Jai Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga. Jai Gauranga Gaura Hare. Jai Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga Gaura Hare. Jai Sachinandan, Jai Sachinandan, Jai Sachinandan Gaura Hare. Jai Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga Gaura Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, oh Hare Hare, Hare Rama, oh Hare Rama, Rama Rama, oh Hare Hare, oh Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Haribo, 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 go to Haribo, Haribo. Gaura Pamanande Bandeyahang Shri Guru Shijita Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Shagara Jatam Shahagana Raganatam Vidang Shajivam Sadvaitam Shavadutam Parichana Shaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Shivi Shagang Vidangscha Mantra Guru Ajota Shikha Guru Ganta Chadane Yage Kari Abandon Bansha Kalpatrubi Ashta Kripa Shand Bebacha Potitanam Pabanebo Vaishnava Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shamade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudavani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shandamani Pashtattade Shatarane. Mukam Kardi Bachalam Pongam Langa Tegidim Jakrapata Maham Vande Sri Gurum Dinadarinam. In the third chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is describing how he was inspired by Lord Nityananda directly to go to Vrindavan and compile the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he's describing about the mercy of Lord Nityananda. He's describing about the amazing mercy of Lord. You saw Lord Nityananda today. He's wearing ostrich feather, blue. You saw him today? Avadut Goshai Ek Britta Prem Dham. Prem Dham. Miniketan Ramdas Hoitan Nam. He's explaining that how glorious is Lord Nityananda that first he begins to explain the extraordinary power of his devotee. Miniketan Ram. Kaviraj Goswami is describing that at his house near Noihati. Just a few months ago I was fortunate to visit the birthplace of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Jamedpur. You can go and see that place. The temple is there. beautiful. Hardly anyone knows that place. There's no crowd. Hardly anyone knows that place. You can go and it's not so far from Mayapur, an hour and a half. So there was a Sankirtan. Kaviraj Goswami was performing. He was a Vaishnava family Brahmins, and he was performing the Sankirtan in his home. So Minikirtan Ram, who was a devotee of Lord Nityananda, he came to participate in the Sankirtan festival. Mahapremamoy. Mahapremamoy. Tiha Boshila Angane Shakal Vaishnav Tar Bondila Charane. Mahapremamoya. He's full of love of Godhead. Minikirtan Ram. Boshilo Angane. He sat in my courtyard. Shakal Vaishnav Tar Bondila Charane. All the Vaishnavas were coming and bowing down at his lotus feet. So this Minikirtan Ram, he was extraordinary. Abhadut, the followers of the Abhadut, they're also extraordinary characters. When the devotees were paying obeisances to Minikirtan Ram, he would climb upon their shoulders. And sometimes he would strike them with his flute, or sometimes slap them. When anyone saw the eyes of Minikirtan Ram, then immediately they would burst into tears. Because from his eyes constantly there was an incessant flow of tears, of love of Godhead. And sometimes his body would erupt like a kadamba flower. Boom. Kadamba season, the Kartik month, kadamba, big kadamba flowers. Boom. His body would erupt like kadamba flowers, and his limbs would be stunned. Whenever he chanted the name of Nityananda, 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 he would just chant Nityananda. Everyone around surrounding him would be astonished. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, his brother's name Gunarnava Mishra, was worshipping the deity. And all the Vaishnavas, you can go to this place and visit this place. All the Vaishnavas were coming and bowing down at Minikirtan Ram, lotus feet, offering obey. But Gunarnava Mishra, he did not go and show respect to Minikirtan Ram. So suddenly, Minikirtan Ram, he announced to the assembly that here we have another Romaharsham Sutta. And then after saying this, he danced and chanted to his heart's content. Now, after the festival, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he's describing how he spoke to his brother. Because his brother, Gunarnava Mishra, he had faith in Lord Chaitanya, but he didn't have faith in Lord Nityananda. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he rebuked his brother. Dui bhai ek tanu shaman prakash. Dui bhai, these two brothers, ek tanu, they're one body, shaman prakash. Identical manifestations, saman prakash, shaman prakash. Nityananda na mane tomar hobe sharbanash. If you do not show respect to Lord Nityananda, if you do not accept Lord Nityananda, hobe sharbanash, you will fall down. Your logic of respecting one and not respecting the other is like the Ardha Kukuti Nyaya, the logic of accepting half a hen. It would be better, Kaviraj Goswami explained, it would be better to ignore them both and be an atheist than respect one and not the other. So Minikirtan Ram, he was hearing Kaviraj Goswami's chastisement of his brother Gunarnava Mishra. Kruddha hoya bashi bangi chole Ram dash. Kruddha hoya, he became angry. Bashi mangi, he broke his flute. Chole Ram dash, and he left. Tat kale amabrata hoilo sharbanash. Tat kale. At that time, amabrata, my brother, hoilo sharbanash. He fell down. So, Kaviraj Goswami is explaining this story to show, just imagine the extraordinary potency of Lord Nityananda. That's what happens if you disrespect his Pramamoy Bhakta. If you disrespect his Pramamoy Bhakta, Lord Nityananda accepts that as an offense. He fell down. Eto kohila tar shivoke prabhab ar ek kohi tar doya shabab. Now I've just explained to you the potency of his devotee. Shivoke prabhab. And now I will explain to you another characteristic of his mercy. That very night, having chastised his brother, Lord Nityananda was very pleased with Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and he appeared to him in a dream. Noi hati nikote Jamatpur Name Gram. That's the place, Jamatpur. You can still go there, you still see the station that says Jamatpur. Many of these places, Panihati and Katwa and Shantipur, is the same name 500 years ago, Jamatpur Naihati. But Mayapur is actually a new name. Mayapur is not mentioned in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita or Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. Mayapur is a new name. Yeah, it's referred to as Nadia, Nabadip Nadia in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and Sri Chaitanya, not Mayapur. Mayapur is a recent name. But Naihati, Jamatpur, Panihati, Katwa, Shantipur, same. So at that place, at his home, that's where his home is. And Lord Nityananda appeared to him in the dream. So now he begins to describe the dream that he saw. Shuddhi Brinda, oh Bhakta Mandali, would you like to hear the dream that he saw? Then hear attentively. Dandavat hoya ami porimu payite nitai pada padda prabhu dilo mornamate. You understand this? You understand? You understand this? This is so much full of nectar, this verse. That's why we're... Because Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he predicted, Prabhupada would mention that Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur predicted that foreigners would learn Bengali to reach Chaitanya Charitamrita. So today, just to fulfill the words of the great Acharya, we are reading the Bengali in your presence. You'll be purified just by seeing this. Because it's the fulfillment of the words of the great Acharya. So in this way we are trying to serve the Acharyas. Dandavat hoya ami porimu payite. I fell down at his feet in a dream. I fell down at his feet. Nija pada padma prabhu dilo mornamate. Nija pada padma. He placed his lotus, Nija pada padma, his lotus seat, Nija pada padma. Prabhu dilo mornamate. He placed his lotus feet on my head in the dream. Imagine a dream like that. Lord Nityananda comes, you fall down at his lotus feet and he places his lotus feet on your head. And then he describes the beautiful form of Lord Nityananda. Oh, listen attentively, Bhakta Mandali. It is very amazing. Adbhut Kotar. Amazing description. He had a glossy, blackish complexion. And he was like a hero, strong, and he seemed as beautiful as Cupid himself. With beautifully formed hands and legs and eyes like lotus flowers. He wore silk cloth and he wore a silken turban. He had golden earrings and golden armlets and bangles. He wore ankle bells that tinkled. And he wore a garland of beautiful flowers around his neck. His body was anointed with sandalwood pulp. He was beautifully decorated with tilak. His movements surpassed those of a maddened elephant. Have you seen a maddened elephant? So Lord Nityananda moved like a maddened elephant. And his body moved to and fro. Absorbed in ecstasy, he would chant Krishna, Krishna in a deep voice. He had a stick in his hand and he appeared like a maddened lion. On all four sides he was surrounded by bumblebees. And his devotees, the cowherd boys, surrounded by cowherd boys. They were surrounding his feet like bumblebees, and they were all chanting Krishna, Krishna. Some of them were playing horns and flutes. And they were dancing and singing. And others were offering betel nuts and waving the chamur. This is the dream of Kaviraj Goswami. Imagine a dream like that. What would we do for experiencing a dream like that? And such detail. And he's able to narrate it. And he includes this narration in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita so that we can experience. So overwhelmed with ecstasy, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he didn't know what to do. He couldn't say anything. So Lord Nityananda smiled. Imagine Lord Nityananda smiling at you. Lord Nityananda smiled. And then he spoke. I wonder what Lord Nityananda's voice sounds like. Anyway, this is what he said. He said, Are Krishnadas, na koroho bhoy, Vrindavan jao, taha sharaba, lab hoy, Are Krishnadas, Krishnadas, na koroho bhoy. No need to be afraid. Vrindavane jao. Go to Vrindavan. Taha sharba labba ho. There you will attain everything. Vrindavane jao. Taha sharba labba ho. There you will attain everything. Sharva labba ho. And after saying this, he directed me to Vrindavan, waving his flute. And then he disappeared with his associates. So I fainted. Kaviraj Goswami is explaining that I fainted and fell on the ground. This is pretty astonishing. You have a dream, and in your own dream you faint and fall on the ground. He fainted, and then I regained consciousness, and then I woke up from the dream. So that very morning, I realized that Lord Nityananda had ordered me to proceed to Vrindavan. That very second, he woke up. That very second, he left. Nothing, no arrangement, no going and going to the bank and this and that and other things and closing this account and this and that. Nothing. He just left. Just left. The sannyas is just left. Sri Radha Madhav ki, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki, Shri Srinita Gaushandava ki. Jai Jai Nityananda, Nityananda Ram, Jaha Kripatai, Poinu, Vrindavan Dham, Jaha Kripatai, by his mercy, Poinu Vrindavan Dham. I achieved Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Nityananda, Jai Kripa Hoy, Jaha Hoite, Poinu Rup Shanatan Ashray, Rup Shanatan Ashray, Taha Kripa Paite. By his mercy, I got the shelter of Rup Shanatan. Jaha Hoite, Poinu Raghunath Mahashai, Raghunath Mahashai. By his mercy, I attained the shelter of the great personality, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami. Jaha Hoite Poinu Raghunath Mahashai, Jaha Hoite Poinu Sri Rup Asrai, Sri Rup, Sri Sarup Asrai. By his mercy, I attained Sri Sarup Asrai. Anyone desiring to become expert in the service of Sri Sri Radha Krishna should always aspire to be under the guidance of Shrarup Damodar Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. To come under the protection of the Goswamis, one must get the mercy of Lord Nityananda. The author has tried to explain this fact in these verses. Now this is very extraordinary that today we are celebrating the Tirobhav Titi of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Tirobhav Titi Mahotsav, and both of them attained the shelter. Kaviraj Goswami attained the shelter of Vrindavan Dham, and the Goswamis, Rup Sanatan, Srarup Asra, Raghunath Das Goswami, by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And we'll hear shortly how Nityananda Prabhu also, we'll hear shortly how Raghunath Das Goswami, by the mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, he was able to attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So let's hear a little from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antolila chapter 6, which is describing the meeting of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Raghunath Das Goswami. Emoto Bihare Go Lai Bhaktagon. Emoto, in this way, Bihare, Gaud Laya Bhaktagan, Mahaprabhu was enjoying with his devotees. Raghunath Milan Ebe Shuno Bhaktagan. Raghunath Milan Ebe Shuno Bhaktagan. Now listen, Bhaktagan, how Raghunath Das Goswami was able to attain the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the chapter 6 of Antolila, chapter 12, text 12. Kaviraj Goswami is describing the family of Raghunath Das Goswami, how he's from the place called Shaptagram, which is in between Mayapur and Kolkata, not far from Panihati. Shaptagram. And he was this only son of Govardhan Majumdar. And his brother was Hiranya Majumdar, the two brothers, uncle Raghunath Das Goswami, Hiranya Majumdar. They were very aristocratic, wealthy jamidars, landlords in Bengal. In fact, it's described that there was no Brahmin in all of Bengal who was not supported by Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar. And particularly Advaita Thakur, Haridas Thakur were very much merciful to Govardhan and Hiranya Majumdar, the father and uncle of Raghunath Das Goswami. For that reason, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he attempted to go to Vrindavan, as described in chapter 16 of Madhya-lila, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Mahaprabhu attempted to go to Vrindavan through Bengal. He reached Kanai-Natasala, Ramkeli, Kanai-Natasala. We were fortunate to visit Kanai-Natasala a few months ago also. That's a spectacular place. Yeah. Just to go there from Mayapur will take you 10 or 12 hours. Kanai-Natasala. You can get to Malda. That was the capital of Bengal. It was called Gaur. Sanatana Goswami was imprisoned there. You can see the prison. You can see the palace of the Nawab. Mahaprabhu went there. And then from Gaur, from Ramkeli, it's 3 hours in a boat. 3 hours in a boat to get to Kanai-Natasala. It's described, actually, I heard Srila Jayapataka Goswami Maharaj describing recently how Gaur Mandal Bhumi, Jeba Jane Chintamoni is like Vrindavan. Same as Vrindavan. Gaur Mandal Bhumi extends in the east from Srihatta the birthplace of Adwaita Thakur, that's Bangladesh, Sylhet, Srihatta, east. In the north, it extends to, in the east, Srihatta. In the south, Remuna. That's Gormandol Bhumi, Remuna. And then, well, the north, in the west, I can't remember in the west, whether it was, not as far as Bihar. But in the north is Kanainata Shala. So that huge area, North Bengal all the way to Ramuna, and then East Bengal, that's Gormandol Bhumi. So Mahaprabhu, he went to Kanainata Shala, and then he decided, accepting the advice of Sanatana Goswami, he returned. And on both occasions he visited Shantipur. So after accepting sannyas, although from Mahaprabhu's own lips we hear, Shannash dharma nahe, Shannash koriya, Nija janmashtana rahe, kutumbalaya. Having accepted sannyas, sannyas dharma nahe is not the duty of a sannyasi. Nija janmashtane rahe, to remain in his birthplace, kutumbalaya, with family members. So for that reason, having accepted sannyas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never returned to Mayapur. However, he never returned to Antadeep. However, he returned to Navadeep on the other side of the Ganga. And he went to Shantipur and Vidyanagar, Koladeep, Kuliyagram. That's the other side. Modern Navadeep town. Mahaprabhu went there. And he visited Shantipur 3 times after taking sannyas. And on each occasion, Sachimata came and visited him. That's the reason why Sachimata requested Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu to remain in Jagannath Puri. Because the devotees from Bengal, they'll go to Puri, the devotees from Puri will come to Bengal. He may also come and take his bath in Ma Ganga, and he did. And in this way, on 3 subsequent occasions, Sachimata was able to take association with Sachinandan at Shantipur. So, having gone to Kanainata Shala and then returning again through Bengal, again Mahaprabhu was in Shantipur for 10 days, and at that time Raghunath Das Goswami came there. Purbe Shantipure Raghunath Jabe Oilo Mahaprabhu Kripa Kori Tare Shikailo. Mahaprabhu Kripa Kori Tare Shikailo. Mahaprabhu at Shantipur, he instructed Raghunath Das Goswami. Prabhu shikaite te ho nijagore jao markat badaga chari hoilo bishai prai. He said, Mahaprabhu explained that you return home. Raghunath at this time already married. Sometimes we hear he's a young boy, but it's not. He already married. Because we'll hear, already married. But he's desiring to give up family life and become an associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu instructed him, don't be a markat baragi, which is a so-called renunciate. Don't be rather, you should behave exactly like a Bishai Prai. Not exactly like, but almost like. Bishai Prai. Just like an ordinary materialist, you should behave. Prabhupada translates like a pounds and shillings man. Pounds and shillings man. In India, you don't use pounds and shillings again now. But perhaps in Prabhupada's time, there were pounds and shillings in India? Always rupees. But anyway, Prabhupada knew what was pounds and shillings because pounds and shillings. It's British. It's British pound. So pounds and shillings man. Just like an ordinary businessman. So seeing this, that he was acting just like an ordinary businessman, the mother and father, they became a little relaxed. They were satisfied. And so much expert Raghunath Das was in acting like the pounds and shillings man that Kaviraj Goswami describes an incident where he diplomatically adjusted a financial crisis that his father and uncle were experiencing. His uncle, Hiranya Majumdar, was a tax collector, but he was keeping more money for himself and not handing it all over to the government representative. So one Mughal Chaudhary, a Turk, who previously had that post of tax collector, he became envious. So he went to the home of Raghunath Das Goswami in Shaptagram with the government officer, and not finding the father, Govardhan and Haranya Majumdar, not finding them at home, the government officer and the Turk Chaudhary, they arrested Raghunath Das. And every day they would admonish him. Your father and uncle, they're taking so much money. I'm not getting any of it. And even he was wanting to beat Raghunath Das. But when he saw the features and Raghunath Das, he couldn't beat him. So then Raghunath Das said that I will arrange a meeting, that you are just like brothers. My father, my uncle, and you the children, you're just like brothers, and brothers sometimes have minor disputes. You three, you'll meet together and everything will be, and the Turk said, you go. He released him from the arrest, and he sent him. And Raghunath Das, he met with his father and his uncle, and he arranged everything. He followed Mahaprabhu's instruction to act like an ordinary Vishayi Praya. It's not that he said, it's all mundane, Maya, karma Paul, bunjane vatma kritam vipakam. One has to endure the results of his past karma. He didn't. He got involved in the mundane material circumstance, following the orders of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Emoto Raghunather Botsor Ek Gelo. Emoto Raghunather Botsor Ek Gelo. 1 year. 1 year. So it's not that he was already married when he went and saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he returned this incident. Then 1 year passed. Dityo Botshore Palaite Mono Koilo. Again, after the second year, then again. Palaite Mon Koiloi. Again, he was desiring to escape. So he escaped one night, and his father went searching and found him and brought him back. This became almost a daily affair. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Your son, your husband, every night he runs away trying to escape home. Almost a daily affair. Could you imagine? And Govardhan Majumdar, he had 10 security agents, officers, constantly guarding Raghunath Das so that he wouldn't run away. Raghunath Das's mother was so exasperated that she said, let's tie him up. Let's tie him up with a rope. At least we'll have him at home. Even if he's a tied up son is better than no son. Let's tie him up. Govardhan Majumdar replied that Indra Shama, Aishadja, Stri, Apsara Shama. He has wealth which is like Indra Shama. He has wealth like Indra. He's the only son of a huge landholder in Bengal who was supporting all the Brahmins in Bengal. And he's the only son. How much property? Raghunath Das Goswami, you have to remember this when you hear of his extreme renunciation in Jagannath Puri. How wealthy he was. Generally, we get to the point of renunciation when we fail in the material world. Lost everything, everything's finished. Well, I'll try it as a renunciation. I'll try renunciation. But nowhere do you see such, they're too attached. Nowhere do you see such the wealthy people taking renunciation. It's just the losers, the poor people. We didn't make it in the material world. Let's try renunciation. But not the successful materialists. For them to renounce everything, extraordinary. I mean, Prabhupada, he says, his material life fell apart. Prabhupada, not to diminish, but this is material life fell apart in Prabhupada's example. Yashaham anugrinami harishe tad dhanam shanai. Harishe tad, I take away the wealth. So many of Prabhupada's business efforts just collapsed. Prabhupada was thinking he would serve his guru by becoming a big business magnate, but Krishna had a different plan. And they rejected him. Prabhupada's family, tadaram swajana dukha dukitam. He's rejected by his family members. Prabhupada was rejected by his sons. He was rejected by his wife. And then in the dream, Saraswati Thakur appeared to him and said, take sannyas, take sannyas. Prabhupada, in the middle of the night, I was discussing yesterday, Sita Kanta Banerjee Lane, on the top floor, he had given 2 rooms to the Gaudiya Math, Sridhar Swami. Prabhupada, in the middle of the night, woke up from that dream. He's banging on the door in the middle of the night, 1 o'clock. He's calling out to his godbrother, give me sannyas now. We don't hear that, but that's described by one of the disciples of Sridhar Swami. Prabhupada was banging on the door in the middle of the night. And Sridhar Swami, no, I'm too obliged to your family. I can't do that. You have to wait, go to Vrindavan. And after some time, Prabhupada took sannyas from Keshav. He was banging on the door. But this is the Goswami's quality, as Srinivas Acharya explained. Chatva turnam ashesha mandalapati shranim tuchavat bhutva dena ganesha kakurunaya kopina kontashito. Chaktva, Ashesha Mandalapati, unlimited social prestige. Ashesha Mandalapati. They were the social leaders, the leaders of the kingdom of Bengal. They were the prime minister and the home secretary and the finance minister, Rup Sanatan. And Raghunath Das Goswami, similarly, wealth like Indra. Apsara Shama, his wife was as beautiful as the Apsara. Easy to take sannyas if your wife is ugly and is a pain in the neck. Right? You just can't wait to get out of the place. But if your wife has the beauty of a heavenly Apsara, and you can imagine how chaste and devoted she was. I mean, this is what everyone desires. Unlimited wealth and a beautiful wife who devotedly serves you. This is what everyone desires. This is the goal of life. Enjoy the beautiful wife who is so devoted to you, chaste, with unlimited wealth. What else do you want? This is what everyone is working hard to get. And then Raghunath Das had that. Shab, Bandite Narileke, Jaramon, even these things. A wife who's as beautiful as a heavenly Apsara and unlimited wealth like that of King Indra, if these things cannot keep him home, what will be the use of mere ropes? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has bestowed his mercy upon him when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, bestowed his mercy upon him. Who can keep such a madman of Chaitanya Chandra? But however, he was unable to escape. Raghunath Das unable to escape. So then he heard that Nityananda Prabhu had come to Panihati. Nityananda Prabhu, Gauda Deshe Udharok, the deliverer of Bengal. Nityananda Prabhu. Nityanande Agya Dilo. Mahaprabhu ordered Nityananda in Jagannath Puri one time. Nityanande Agya Dilo, go to Deshe, go to Bengal, on Argal, Prema Bhakti Korho Prakashe, and without restriction distribute love of God. Mahaprabhu himself was requested to remain in Jagannath Puri. So he ordered Rupa and Sanatan to develop Brajabhumi Vrindavan now, his desire. H.I. Goshai Jabe Braja Koila Bashradha Kishno Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. H.I. Goshai, including Raghunath Das Goswami. We'll hear eventually he goes to Vrindavan after leaving Jagannath Puri. So the Goswamis, Mahaprabhu personally only remained in Vrindavan 10 days. Actually, Balabhadra Bhattacharya and the Brahmin Krishna Das, they took Mahaprabhu out of Vrindavan, having jumped into the Jamuna unconscious. Mahaprabhu jumped into the Jamuna and they said, we can't continue like this. It's too much. We have to take him out of Vrindavan. Because his prema, it increased 10,000 times. It took him out of Vrindavan. So Mahaprabhu couldn't remain there. So who will develop Vrindavan Dham? It had become lost. Radha Kund, Sham Kund, the holy places, they're all revived, they're all revealed by the Goswamis. Rup Sanatan, Bhatta Raghunath Das Goswami, Shijiva, Lokanath Goswami. The Goswamis revived Vrindavan as we know today. Mahaprabhu ordered them. And South India, Mahaprabhu personally preached. And Mahaprabhu remaining in Jagannath Puri. So Bengal, Mahaprabhu, who will deliver Bengal? So apart from you, holy man, who can I trust to deliver Bengal? So Nityananda wandering in Bengal Bhumi, Gaurmandal Bhumi, wandering, Analgal Prema Bhakti Koraho Prakashe, without restriction, distributing love of Godhead. Panihati Grame, Poilo, Prabhu Darshan, Panihati Grame. Prabhu Darshan, Raghunath Das went there, not far from Shaptagram. He went to Panihati. Prabhu Darshan, he saw Nityananda Prabhu. Kirtaniya Shebak Shange Ar Bahut John. Kirtaniya Shebak Shange, with his Kirtaniya associates and his servants, Ar Bahu John, and so many others. That's how Lord Nityananda cruised in his preaching, with the Kirtaniyas, with the Sebaks, and they're all extraordinary persons. Dwadasha Gopa, the 12 cowherd boys of Vrindavan, were the associates of Lord Nityananda, traveling with him, preaching in Bengal. So he went there to Panihati, and he saw Lord Nityananda. You can go and you can see the tree under the Brikha. It's a bodgach, a beautiful big bodgach there on the bank of Maganga in Panihati. You can go and still see that tree. The platform is there. There is a temple there. And ISKCON is just next door. Temple established by Nitya Lila Pravishta Shila Bhakti Charu Shami Maharaj. So Raghunath Das went there. Ganga Tire, Brika Mole, Pindar Upare, on the bank of the Ganga, under the tree, on the platform. Boshiachen, Janakoti, Surjodaya Kore. Nityananda Prabhu sitting, Surjodaya Kore, with effulgence like 1,000 rising suns. And so many of his associates were with him, some sitting on the ground, some sitting on the platform. Raghunath Das came and offered his obeisances, falling prostrate. One servant of Lord Nityananda pointed out, here is Raghunath Das. Shuni, Prabhu Kohe, Chor Dilo Darshan. Shuni, hearing this, here is Raghunath Das. Prabhu Kohe, Nityananda Prabhu said, Chor Dilo Darshan, the thief has come and given us, the thief has come to see us. The thief has come to see us. I, Aj Tor, Korimu Danda, come, today I'm going to punish you. Just see the Abhadut Goshai, his preaching style. This is the first time that Raghunath Das Goswami has met Nityananda Prabhu. The first time. The first time. There's nothing like a hi Bo, how are you, how's things, how's the family, I come from, how was your journey? How was your journey? Just like every other journey, I started and I journeyed and I came to the destination and now I'm here. How was your journey? Nothing like that. Nityananda, Abhadut Goshai, his preaching style, extraordinary. The thief has come to see us. Today I will punish you. You are a thief. Instead of coming near, you stay at a distant place. He was offering obeisances at a distant place. Now I have captured you. Now I will punish you. Dori Chira Bhakan Koraho Morgane This is the punishment. Listen to the punishment Lord Nityananda gave to Raghunath Das Goswami. Dodi chira, that's yogurt and chip rice. Dodi chira, bokon koraho morgone, you feed morgone, you feed my devotees. Dodi chira, you feed my devotees. Yogurt and chip rice. We never heard anything about Dodi chira before this. Nityananda Gosai, extraordinary. Yogurt and chip rice, you feed all of my, this is the punishment. You feed morgone, all of my men, morgone, my associates. Shuni, anandito hoilo Raghunath mone. Shuni anandito hoilo Raghunath mone. He became greatly ecstatic, greatly pleased in the mind, hearing this order from Lord Nityananda. You can understand, Shune, Anandito Hoilo Raghunath Mone, it's not difficult. So even if the foreigners can learn Bengali, what to speak of Bharatiya John? I think our Nitai Madhav, he's learning Bengali, he's gone, he's become a Mayapur Bashi. And Prabhupada wanted his followers to learn the Bengali. That's why he includes it in the texts. So he arranged. He was a wealthy man, Raghunath Das. Even he came with men. He came with men. He's not traveling alone, such an aristocrat. And so immediately he sent his men to the markets, and they were collecting and purchasing the chip rice, the yogurt, milk, and other sweetmeats, bananas, sugar, chini, kola, kopur, camphor. Mahotsav naam shune Brahman shajan, ashite lagila lok ashanka ganon. Mahotsav naam shune, hearing that there was a festival. Mahotsav naam shune Brahman shajan, all of the Brahmins in the area of Panihati, ashite lagile, they all came there. Lok ashanka ganon, you could not count the number of people who came there, hearing that there was a festival of Chira Dohi. And so many came, and then we won't go into so much detail, but the two large pots, and they soaked in one in milk and one in yogurt, Chira Dohi. And then a small pot, everyone sitting, some sitting on the bank, some sitting here and there, some sitting beside Lord Nityananda on the platform, some sitting under the platform, and even there was not enough room, and so some were in the Ganga, waist deep in the Ganga, eating their chira dahi. This is very extraordinary, because andantarashta paramanu chayantarashtam, he is within the atom, and andantarashta, the whole universe is within him. So there's no question of Lord Nityananda not having enough space for his festival. So he could easily just expand the whole area so that everyone gets enough room. So why did the people, some Brahmins, there's not enough room, they're on the bank of the Ganga. They're in the Ganga. Because Lord Nityananda gets more pleasure out of that. Kehu upare, kehu tole, kehu Ganga tire. Bij John tintai poribeshan kore. Kehu upare, some here a little around in the distance. Kehu tole, some on the platform, some at the base of the platform. Kehu Ganga tire, some on the banks of the Ganga. 20 জন তিন তাই পরিবেশন করে, 20 men, তিন তাই, in these three places, distributed the prasadam. Going from Brahman to Brahman in the pot, giving the two pots, one of the milk and chira, and one of the dohi, chira dohi. So then Raghav Pandit arrived. You can go to Raghav Bhavan. In Kolkata, Rath Yatra, I was in the elevator with Nitya Lila Pravishta Shila Bhakti Charu Shami Maharaj. I asked him, what is your vision for developing Panihati? He said to me, there are 4 places where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always present. The Nityananda Nache, where Lord Nityananda dance, Sachi Randane, where Sachi Mata cooks, Shribash Angane, in the courtyard of Shribash Thakur, and Raghav Bhavane, in the home of Raghava Pandit in Panihati. That's just a few, not far from the bank of the Ganga at all. And Lord Nityananda here, one time he described, he's there for 3 months. In Panihati for 3 months, performing Sankirtan with his associates. Panihati, what a special place. Raghav Bhavan. Vrindavan Das Thakur describes that even what Nityananda Prabhu, what he did in 1 hour, volumes and volumes of Vedic literature cannot even describe how much he was, what was going on in that 3 months. So Raghav Pandit came. He said, Prabhu, I have cooked for you. You can imagine. Raghavir Jal, his wife. What was his wife's name? You remember? Anyway, she would cook and 10, 12 men would carry the items as the devotees from Bengal every year would go to Puri. They would carry the offerings that were cooked by Raghav Pandit's wife in different, that's another wonderful leela, all packed up on their heads. They would carry to Jagannath Puri to feed Gauranga. So you can imagine what he'd cooked when Nityananda Prabhu had came to Raghav, to Panihati. You imagine what he'd cooked. So Raghava Pandit, he comes and says that, I've cooked for you. I've cooked for you. You come and eat. Lord Nityananda replies, listen carefully, Bhakta Mandali. It is very important. It is very significant what Lord Nityananda replied. Gopa Jati Ami Bahut Gopagon Shange Ami Shuk Pai A Pulan Bojan Ronge. Gopa Jati Ami. I'm a cowherd boy. Bahut Gopagon Shange. And I'm accompanied by so many cowherd boys. Amra Shuk Pai A Pulan Bojan Ronge. We get great happiness, this type of picnic on the banks of the river. Just like the cowherd boys in Vrindavan. So today I'm enjoying my picnic with my cowherd boyfriends on the bank of the Jamuna. In the evening I'll come to your house to eat the rice and the preparations. So as the devotees were distributing prasadam, Lord Nityananda is sitting there, he's so ecstatic. By meditation he brought Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the two of them together wandering around all the rows of Vaishnavas, and Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, taking some morsel of chira dahi and placing it in the mouth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And no one could see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, only a few rare souls could see. So Raghunath Das, he purchased the bananas, the kopor, the chini, the milk, the banana, the chip rice from all the shopkeepers, and then he invited them, and then he was feeding them the ingredients that he'd purchased from them. After satisfying all the Vaishnava Mandali, Raghunath Das was going with a garland and chandan and anointing all the devotees. And there's many things we can say today. We won't go, but subsequently, Lord Nityananda, Raghunath Das Goswami, he gave 100 gold coins to the treasurer of Lord Nityananda and said, distribute this amongst all of the associates of Lord Nityananda. And they sat together and they made the inventory, right, that's what it would be called, of the different exalted servants of Lord Nityananda and how much donation to give them. And in this way, the Chira Dahi Mahotsav was conducted. Then the next morning, Prate, Nityananda Prabhu Ganga Snan Koriya Shei Brika Mule Boshila Nijergon Laya. The next day, Ganga Snan Kore, having taken his bath in the Ganga, Prabhu Shei Brika Tole, Shei Brika Mule, that same tree, sitting under that tree, Boshila Nijergon Laya, with all of his associates, he was sitting there. Raghunath Das came and he worshipped the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. I am the lowest of men, the most sinful and fallen and condemned. Nevertheless, I desire to attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like a dwarf who wants to catch the moon. I've tried many, many times, but I've never been successful. Every time I try, my mother and father, they capture me, and with ropes they keeping me bound up. Toma kripa bina kehu chaitanya na pai. Toma kripa bina kehu chaitanya na pai. Without your mercy, no one can get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tumi kripa koilo tare adhamera pai. Adhamera pai. But by your mercy, tumi kripa koile, if you're merciful, tare, to that person, adhamera pai. Even the most wretched, adhamera pai, can get the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu if you're merciful upon them. Morna Mate is Raghunath Das Goswami's request to Lord Nityananda. Morna Mate, Pod Dhori Koroho Prasad. Morna Mate, Pod Dhori Koroho Prasad. Place your feet on my head. Morna Mate. Pod Dhori Koroho. You place your feet on my head and give me this benediction. Nirvignai Chaitanya Pai Koro Ashirvade. You give me the benediction that without difficulty I can attain shelter at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After hearing this appeal of Raghunath Das Goswami, Nityananda Prabhu, he smiled and he spoke to all of his associates who were sitting there. Raghunath Das' standard of material happiness is equal to that of Indra, the king of heaven. But because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has bestowed mercy upon Raghunath Das, then even though situated in such material happiness, he does not like it at all. So you will be merciful upon him so that he can attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Lord Nityananda, he called Raghunath Das close and he placed his lotus feet on the head of Raghunath Das Goswami, and he spoke. Tumi Jai Korila A Pulin Bhojan. You have arranged a Pulin Bhojan, this picnic on the bank of the river. Tumi A Korilo A Pulan Bhojan. Tomar Kripa Kori Gaud Koilu Agamon. And to show mercy upon you, Gaud Koilu Agamon. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here. And he ate that chip rice and the milk. Tomar udhari te gaud oilo apane. Chutila tomor jota bigna bandhane. He came here personally to deliver you. Now rest assured that all of the impediments of your bondage are gone. And then he says that he predicts the future of Raghunath Das Goswami. Sharuper Shtane Tomar Koribe Shamar Panei Antaranga Britta Boli Rokibe Chorane. Sharuper Shtane Tomar Koribe Shamar Panei. You will be, means that you will be offered Sharup Ershtane, to the lotus feet of Sharup Damodar. And therefore, Sri Sachinanda and Gaudhari, he would refer to Raghunath Das Goswami as Sharup Ragu. the Raghunath of Swarup. So you will attain the shelter. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will accept you and place you under the charge of his secretary, Swarup Damodar. Antaranga Britta, an internal servant. Antaranga Britta. You will thus become one of the most confidential internal servants. Antaranga Britta. Bali Rocky Bay Charanai. Rocky Bay Charanai. In this way you will be kept at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Antaranga Britta Bali. In other words, you will be known as Antaranga Britta Bali. You will be known as, you will become famous as one of the most internal associates of servants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu said that, sitting under the Bod Gach on the banks of Maganga in Panihati. Shab Bhakta Dware Tar Ashidbad Korila Tar Shabade Charan Raghunatha Bondila. Shab Bhakta Dware Tar Ashidbad Korila. Nityananda had Raghunath Das blessed by all of the devotees. Tar Shabade Charan Raghunath Bondila, and Raghunath Das, he offered his respect to the lotus feet of all those devotees. And then the story is very elaborate. We won't go into all the detail, but he returned home. Nityananda Prabhu said that already all of the bondage which is keeping you has gone. And then a few evenings later, the priest, Jadunandan Acharya, the priest, he's the guru, the Diksha guru, and even the name Raghunath, he already had the name Raghunath. So, Jadunandan Acharya, Diksha guru, he came to Raghunath. The pujari is not doing the seva in the middle of the night. The pujari is not doing the seva. You can only go and you wake him up and you get him to do the seva. Raghunath Das hearing that, okay. He's going, he's looking, there's no one here. In the middle of the night, there's no one. He's thinking, now is my chance. So he left. He never went and saw the pujari. It's accepting a higher principle, that's contravening a lower principle for a higher principle. He neglected the order of Jadunandan Acharya, but he saw that this was the opportunity that Nityananda Prabhu had bestowed upon him. And so he left and then traveled, and eventually he reached Jagannath Puri. And at first the father was sending 10 men. He sent 10 men to just so that he wouldn't be inconvenienced in any way in Jagannath Puri. They were searching here and there, and they found the devotees of Shivananda Sen's party. And where is Raghunath? He must be with you. No, he's not here. He's not with us. He was going alone, separate path to Jagannath Puri. Then he reached Jagannath Puri, and then they couldn't bring him back. So he sent 10 men there just to make sure that he's not inconvenienced in any way. And he was sending money, so much money, monthly, for his son. Raghunath Das was taking all that money and arranging big mahotshav, feast, for all the devotees, including Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then after some time, Raghunath, as his renunciation increased, he thought that this is not good to accept accept the charity of a materialist. By this will be polluted. So he stopped accepting that money. And then one day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Oh, Raghunath not offering us feasts anymore." And the devotees were describing his extreme renunciation, how he was simply, where the cows, the rejected Jagannath Mahaprasad, which is given to the cows, there he would go collect some grains and wash it and eat that. And collect the discarded cloth from here and there. And in this way performed extreme renunciation in Jagannath Puri, which actually requires extensive time for hearing and reflection. The extreme renunciation of Raghunath Das Goswami in Jagannath Puri, where Mahaprabhu personally instructed him. Vishayila anna koilo dushta hoimon. If you eat the grains offered cooked by a materialist, you'll become polluted. you'll become polluted. Don't wear luxurious clothing. Don't eat luxurious food. In this way, the instructions of renunciation that Mahaprabhu gave to Raghunath Das Goswami are the treasure of all the renunciate followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gaudangera, what is that? Bhaktagon Vairagya Pradhan. Gaud Bhagavan er Vairagya Pradhan. Jaha Deki Prita Hoy Gaud Bhagavan. Renunciation is the life of the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Seeing their renunciation, Lord Chaitanya becomes satisfied. Eito Kohilo Nityanandir Bihar Chida Dohi Mahotshav Nam Katijar. In this way we've described the Chida Dohi Mahotshav of Nityananda Prabhu and his associates, arranged by Raghunath Das Goswami, by which he was able to attain the full shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami Shubha Tirubhav Titi Mahamahotshav ki, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Shubha Tirubhav Titi Mahotshav ki, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami Shubha Tirubhav Titi Mahotshav ki, Shamaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much.